I will not go to kick. That's it. That's all you need to know. I will not go. I will not go. So, just to let everyone know and address something that's really quickly, I will be just streaming on Kick. I will not be streaming on Twitch. Twitch is done. What are your goals with you being on Kick? What do you guys want me to do? Quit.
Post-controversy, Mizkif seems willing to do anything and everything rather than choose a path of self-reflection. Nobody is perfect or free from the capability to make mistakes, but it's how we handle those mistakes that defines our character. Mizkif had two choices. He could either take responsibility for his wrongdoings, seek forgiveness, and attempt to grow as a human being, or he could double down, deflect culpability, and never look back. It's becoming increasingly clear which one he's chosen. It's fascinating to see the lengths this guy will go to, all in an effort to protect his insatiable ego. So let's see if we can peel back the curtain, figure out what's going on with Matt, and maybe we'll even learn something. Beginning on an especially fateful day in October, not from the perspective of the viewer, not from the perspective of Emiru, but as a man named Matthew. When Emiru turned on her stream, I can only imagine the pit of dread that formed in Mizkif's stomach, not only being forced to bear witness to a complete teardown of his character from the lens of someone he may have once deeply cared about, but having the messy details of his very private life be broadcast for the world. Hundreds of thousands of live viewers, Asmongold live reacting instead of showering, and a cacophony of chatters vehemently against him. This was a situation that Mizkif had no control over, and feeling powerless is not a good feeling. It shouldn't surprise you when I say that the larger the streamer is, the larger their ego becomes. They sit on their stream being validated and bolstered by communities of yes men. When every joke is funny and every opinion is correct, it's not hard to imagine an inflated sense of self-importance forming. Paradoxically, this self-importance is both hollow and easily challenged.
You gotta get some workouts in, man. You eat more than Austin peas. Dude, I'm literally, alright, first of all, dude, never do this, okay? Never do this, okay? Fucking die.
Due to being notable public figures, they draw heaps of criticisms. Whether they admit it or not, it weighs on them. Simply put, you'll find many large creators to be both disgustingly egotistical and simultaneously deeply insecure.
Omegalol, you're losing your mind because a chatter called you out and your girlfriend keep talking about getting paid as your view count crashes more. Omegalol, relevancy fading. As you're upset at the fact that we're all just talking and hanging out, I'm making millions of dollars every year hanging out with your sweet, sweet Emiru, and my life is fantastic.
For many, this is represented in a sense of entitlement to notoriety and fame, and lashing out at external factors when they fall short of their own expectations. This is behavior that Mizkif demonstrates.
I've been massively obsessed with streaming and viewership over the years. I am angry at others because of it. It makes me jealous when I see others doing well.
So naturally, in an effort to protect the fragility of his ego, he tries to reclaim the narrative. He decides to start up his counter stream and muddy the waters to the best of his ability. Maybe he's so used to the supportive nature of his community, he genuinely thinks that if he turns on his stream and asserts his half-baked perspective, he'll win everybody back. But unfortunately, to his detriment and to others' amusement, he's not too great at it. As a rebuttal to allegedly emotionally manipulating his ex-girlfriend, punching holes in walls, driving at breakneck speeds, slamming doors, and being all around toxic, he tells us,
Emmy was also violent. She would throw clothes or plushies at me, and I punched holes in the walls or slammed doors in aggression. I one time did say I was gonna...
Wait, so she... No, I gotta be getting trolled. She threw a plushie at him.
As if a stray Kirby plushie flying at a moderate speed would have removed his head from his body. Despite his poor execution, it's obvious that Mizkif is trying to reframe the situation from something inconvenient to him.
The psychological and domestic abuse, stalking and harassment, sexual assault, and threats of blackmail that Mizkif has done towards me.
To something convenient enough to introduce plausible deniability.
I knew we were just beyond the point of toxicity in the relationship, and that we had so many issues that I couldn't deal with it, and I was not mentally well.
From one where he shoulders the blame alone, to one that he hopes others may write off as just a messy breakup. And to his credit, he probably does genuinely believe that both himself and Emery were comparably wrong, but the evidence he provides just doesn't quite get us there. Ironically, Mizkif makes this situation much worse than it needed to be. Despite being undeniably toxic, he really isn't irredeemable, often showing signs of self-awareness and remorse, and even exercising some accountability. But before you can get on his side, in the same breath he'll turn around and say something dreadfully defensive, undoing any of the work he managed to do.
I know I could have done better, and I'm sorry. I'm ashamed that the situations got so bad. I saw that, I've realized that I'm a horrible boyfriend and I have a lot to work on for myself. Emmy was also violent. She would throw clothes or plushies at me. I truly hope nothing but the best for Emmy. I'm sorry that any of this happened. I have dozens of photos and videos. I have things I will be leaking over the next 2 days. I do believe that this is a time to go fucking buck wild. When she says that I was getting ready to go after her and that I was going to use her rabbits against her, that was never the plan. And I will say this proudly. Emery abused those rabbits. She did.
And unfortunately, it only gets worse as the situation develops. Within this same stream, he plays his next move, where through a series of allusions to demon time, Mizkif implies that the secrets he holds are more than enough to ruin the lives of those who stand against him.
I have hundreds of messages and DMs from people, things that people probably would never want to get released, that are very interesting for everyone, and I will be releasing it as time goes on, because why not?
Mizkif is the danger. Hear me out. Comparing Mizkif to Walter White isn't the most palatable comparison, but this specific scene just wouldn't get out of my head. One of the most iconic monologues of modern media, emboldened by such a convincing delivery.
I am not in danger, Skylar. I am the danger. A guy opens his door and gets shot, and you think that of me? No. I am the one who knocks.
And for those who have watched the show, the sentiments being expressed here couldn't be farther from the truth. This scene comes after the most vulnerable Walter White has ever been. Walter is not the danger. In reality, he's vulnerable, insecure, and scared, but won't admit it as it's at odds with his ego. And the same can be said for Miz. Despite the mask being unceremoniously ripped off of Mizkif's face, and him being as unprotected and as vulnerable as he's ever been, with his alleged shortcomings on display for the world to see, he wants others, and himself, to feel that even now he has some control. He can destroy others at just a whim. He's something to fear. He is the danger.
It's time to go full demon time. It's full demon time. It is time to go full demon time. And it is time to go full demon time.
I don't think this part was necessarily for us, especially considering no such red button has been hit yet. Instead, this may be a bit more targeted to 3 sets of people. A threat to those he considers openly against him, a warning to anyone else with a reason to blow the whistle, and a bit of reassurance for himself. If he thought public perception was bad at that time, things have only gotten worse. Criticism is the enemy of ego. Where an inflated ego and self-importance leads one to believe that they're better than others, truthful criticism forces one to come face to face with a true mirror of themselves. If your goal is to avoid self-reflection in an effort to protect your ego, then you have to find a way to mitigate criticism. And there's really no method more effective than acting unbothered. Just act like you don't care. Let's mock the lawsuit you filed.
Get ready with me for court. First thing I realized is that I only have hand-me-down clothes.
Make ironic content about being a good boyfriend to your fake girlfriend.
I've actually got a girlfriend. Here's how to help a stressed girlfriend get through the day. I thought that your period was tomorrow, but I've already become prepared. And I brought you some Mr. Beast chocolate and some tampons.
Break up with that fake girlfriend.
Me and Juice broke up. She broke up with me, and that's never happened before, so I don't know how to process this.
When it's all one big joke, it's easier to deflect criticism. Pretend like it doesn't affect you. Take the reins into your own hands and hope that others give up when they don't get a reaction. But it does affect you. The mere fact that you feel the need to reference and address criticism, even if it's by making ironic content, makes it obvious it bothers you.
What happened with the new girlfriend? Was she really pregnant and did you break up? I did that, and the reason why I did that is because I think it's just so funny how people will believe any clips or things that they see. And I just wanted to prove that.
Your clearly filtered Instagram comments make it obvious it bothers you. And it should bother you, because not all criticism is frivolous. Although I do see why it would be hard for Mizkif. There's a vocal majority that isn't really interested in his growth, or even treating him like a human being. Bottom line, they're just against him, and their criticism doesn't necessarily come in good faith. In fact, how about we defend Mizkif a little bit? I think it's important to explore Mizkif's perspective. Even though nuance isn't necessarily popular when it comes to internet controversies, there are in fact two sides here.
And that's what always bothers me is all these people just dumpster on you when all of a sudden it feels like it's the right time to do it. They're saying Merry Christmas, and then the second they have an opportunity, they just jump on you like a shark. And that's the only thing, chat, we could do now is just be the villain that everyone wants us to be.
From where Mizkif is sitting, many of his former friends had no problem with him, tolerated his behavior, collaborated with him, and acted in his support until Emaru blew the whistle. This cancellation also only comes when he has moved away from his past to another state, barely interacts with any of these people openly.
It's crazy to think that I did all those good streams, and then conveniently after that is when all of a sudden I got attacked and everyone just destroyed my career. Isn't that interesting?
Plus, with the current internet discourse, it's certainly easy for him to feel like nothing he does would remedy this situation anyways. The world is simply against him. But even when we give Mizkif the utmost trust, and we say, hey, maybe we live in the reality where Miz was surrounded by fake streamer friends who used him and discarded him when convenient, and maybe Asmongold, OTK, and the other actors in this story aren't the greatest people either, it still does not mean that Mizkif himself is not toxic, because both things can be true at the same time. By refusing to acknowledge much, if any, of his fault, and writing off all criticism, Mizkif has just solidified the fact that he will appear to the public as the bad guy. When I swear, if he had focused on his own presentation, faults, and culpability, then he would be viewed significantly more favorably, and maybe, just maybe, people would be more inclined to actually listen to his criticisms of the others. Because right now, when he rambles about fake friends and betrayal, it just feels like he's deflecting from himself. No one is worse off for it except him. In a way, he's really just betraying himself.
What happened to never coming here? Times change.
Stances, opinions, and morals can change over time. That in itself is not a problem. The problem is when change only occurs for the wrong reasons. I don't think these are changes he himself wanted to do. Instead, he feels like he has to do them due to the position he's put himself in. He switched from Twitch to Kick, and his first stream had an underlying aura of, I don't really want to be here, but I think I have to be. It's his call to Ice Poseidon that feels the worst. For all intents and purposes, Ice made Mizkif the streamer he is today. Despite this, Mizkif pretty much abandoned Ice due to his controversial persona, deciding to attach himself to other personalities in an effort to climb to the top.
Yeah, I mean, it's inevitable that Twitch relationships get fucked up because, as you know...
Fake, Paul. That's why I came over here. They're fucking fake. They're pathetic. They only care about clout.
I mean, you are one of the fakest people I've ever seen in my life.
You think I'm fake, Paul, because I didn't join you on the dark side 7 years ago.
That's fair that you went to Twitch, but it's not about that. I remember when I was moving to Austin, I told you I was moving to Austin, and then you told me I had no friends.
Yeah, but you probably didn't.
Well, I thought you were my friend.
In this case, reconnecting and having an honest conversation about how your behavior hurt one of your old friends isn't the bad part. It's the fact that you only did this out of compulsion. It also really does feel like some weird parallel to Mizkif's own story, where now he's become the black sheep due to his controversy. Maybe no one truly understands him better than Ice does. Mizkif has clearly chosen his path, one that he may mistakenly think is his only path. I can't help but feel that while the world moves on, he's suffering, unceremoniously relegating himself to the back alleys of Kick. And it's moments like these that should ideally spark growth, but Mizkif's ego has seemingly led him to feel like he was treated unfairly. That blinds him from seeing his own culpability.
I know I don't deserve this. I think most of you know that I don't deserve this.
Not only that, but there's no one to really call him out in a healthy way. The people he surrounds himself with nowadays were ready to pop up and enable and encourage Mizkif's behavior, joining him on a weirdly vindictive path rather than calling him out, with no real good friend in the middle, someone who will support him with compassion while simultaneously remaining honest and constructive. Therefore, all the onus of growth and reflection rests entirely on his shoulders, with no one around to help him in the process. A daunting task for someone with the insatiable, delusional ego of a Twitch streamer. So chances are there's not going to be any significant deviation from this path. In fact, you could apply this video to many other content creators, slowly becoming worse and worse versions of themselves while being too prideful to ever really admit fault. If there's anything to learn from Walter White, no one can run away from consequences forever, and there surely will be a day it all catches up with you. It's usually the pride that comes before the fall.